Hi! You people wouldn't believe the things I have seen. Anyways, hi, I'm Ode. Pleasure to meet you, let's shake hands. Let's get right down to business, because today you, my friends, shall witness King Edward VIII of the British Isles bring about a new world order. And beans and toast for everyone! Our story begins where all good things begin in this world, the year 1936. I think this statement might be false. The United Kingdom, as you hopefully already know, is the largest empire in the world in 1936. We are everywhere, which is both a blessing and a curse. We got everything as far as resources and ethnicities go, but a bunch of wacky people with silly names and mustaches lust for our precious land. As much as I lust for human contact. But just like the virus keeps me away from other people, I shall keep the fascist away from my land. When people see the situation of the British Empire in 1936, one question rises to their mind. Do I make her go steady? Or change the course? I'll be changing the course, as I believe that this empire needs a breath of fresh air. Though that skull in the focus icon makes me ask the question, am I the bad guy for picking this? Oh well, I'm sure only good things will happen on this side of the focus tree. Oh no! What is this? A crisis! King George is dead, and Edward has become the king, but Edward is apparently bonking an American hag called Wallis Simpson. Now, the worst thing is not the fact that Miss Wallis is an American hag, it is the fact that Miss Wallis has been divorced and is currently going through another. I apologize. Divorce is just something so un-British. Now, Edward claims he is madly in love with the hag Wallis and that he wishes to marry her. Now, our government and the governments of our dominions demand that Edward cut off his ties to Miss Wallis or abdicate the throne to his brother George. Now, there are three ways to solve this horrible crisis of Edward being horny for some American pussy. We can either make him abdicate the throne, we can compromise on a morganatic marriage, or we can proceed with the wedding. Now, I'm quite the romantic at heart, and I really can't bring myself to stand in the way of some good old-fashioned true love. So, a royal marriage it is. Oh, look at that! The first reactions from the British public to my decision. It would seem that the common people and their papers are supporting Edward's marriage to Wallis. They know Edward is just like them, a good, honest, hard-working man who just wants some real love. Ah, how wonderful to see some support from politicians. Nothing can go wrong when Mr. Churchill and Mosley have our back. Ah, the nobility always resists true love. What else should one expect from people who marry their cousins for power? Oof, the cabinet just resigned. Well, good riddance, I can always set up a new one. Ah shit, the Dominions just declared independence. Fine, go ahead, declare your independence. I don't want weaklings like you in my empire. Can't even capture Gallipoli when told to. At long last, Edward and Miss Wallis are married. It only cost us most of the empire. Well, at least I still hold all the non-Dominion land in Africa, the Americas and in Asia, and Malay is still my puppet as they are a colony, not a dominion. Still, most of the empire is now gone. But I guess true love is worth an empire. Now as Edward VIII has been married to Miss Wallis and his rule seems to be somewhat stable, it is time to get to work on the main goal of this playthrough, unlocking the achievement William Wallis. The achievement William Wallis requires the player to make Edward VIII the King of UK and to enforce the American monarchy, which you do through a decision after annexing the US of A, and you also need to have Scotland as your puppet. The reason why I picked the focus change in course at the beginning of the game is because to get this achievement, the Focus Unite the Anglosphere needs to be completed to make the decision to enforce the American monarchy. Now to make getting this achievement painless as possible, I'm going to have to invade the US soon as possible, as the US military starts off extremely weak but becomes incredibly powerful if you give it time to grow. If I go down the King's Party focus path like this, to the focus bring the Dominions back into the fold, I can invade the USA in less than a year from now. As when I invade Canada, the USA will intervene because of their quarantine of Canadian independence. While I do the focuses to get my war goal on Canada, I'll be improving the infrastructure of my North American holdings and, of course, moving some troops there for the upcoming war. 27th of October 1937, I launched my invasion of Canada and, as expected, the USA joined the war. Now, let me introduce you Operation Empire. My invasion plan is pretty simple. I'll be using 4 marine divisions to capture Quebec, which has a decently sized port. After capturing the port, 12 infantry divisions will travel from the British Isles straight into Quebec, from which they will advance north to cut off the Canadian forces that are up there. The 12 infantry divisions that are already in northern Canada will simply keep the Canadians who are up there busy, so I can encircle them. After this, the plan is to just advance and try to pull off encirclements whenever possible. Okay, now as you know how the invasion is going to happen, let's get it done. Here go the Marines. Looking good. Wait, what? Americans? Already? Oh shit, they're losing. Pull back! Well, there goes there goes my whole invasion plan. Introducing Operation Enduring Empire. Because of our army's recent failures, caused by relying too much on traditional military theorem, the next operation has to be something new and brave. Because of that, we will be sending the 2 remaining Marine divisions to capture Canadian ports in Nova Scotia. Soon as the Marines have successfully captured a port or ports, the infantry divisions from the British Isles shall travel to Nova Scotia. And when they have arrived, the largest British offensive since World War I shall be launched straight to the heart of Canada, New Brunswick, which will hopefully bring a swift end to this war. The operations shall commence January 1st, 1938. And there they go. Look at that, easy peasy. And now to deploying the rest of the invasion force. My forces are meeting a bit of resistance, but it's nothing bad. And hey, look at that, here's the infantry. Alright, I'm now just going to push as far as I can with these guys. I got some bad news. Operation Enduring Empire isn't progressing that well at the moment. I've managed to push into New Brunswick, but the Americans managed to land behind me, which has forced me to divert some of my forces away from the front lines. While up in the north, I'm about to lose 6 infantry divisions, half my forces up in the north. So yeah, this is not going too well at all. But I'm about to deploy my special weapon, which I think will turn the tide of war. Behold! 4 light tanks / motorized brigades, buffed by mobile warfare doctrine. I have been equipping and training this absolute 12-wit modern beast of war since the beginning of this game. And they are finally ready. While these 4 light tank divisions / motorized divisions were absolutely demolishing the whole US army, I remembered that I could actually cause an loyalist uprising in Canada. For a price. And so I did. Look at that. What a nice little uprising. It's not going to help me that much, as the 4 tank / motorized divisions are pretty much single-handedly causing the whole North Americans line to collapse. The US surrendered on May 11, 1939, after getting snaked to submission by my motorized / tank units, while Canada surrendered 8 days later on May 19th, bringing an end to this war. In the peace treaty, I of course gave control of Canada over to the loyalist government. It's not like I really even have a choice. While I puppeted the Philippines and annexed all of the US except Florida, leaving an American puppet state there, as I want to get the US fleet by annexing them through the puppet system. I'm also pretty sure that I can enforce the monarchy on them if they're my puppet, so this should be just fine. I'm sorry to inform you all, but I'm a fucking idiot. When I recorded this video, I didn't know that I needed to complete the Focus Unite the Anglosphere to enforce the American monarchy, and that the focus could only be completed when an independent US exists. I assume you all know what I'm about to say next. I didn't complete the Focus Unite the Anglosphere before this war, which means I can't enforce the American monarchy. Now, all is not lost. I figured out my mistake pretty much soon as I was done with the peace treaty and devised a plan to salvage this playthrough. Because I want to continue this game so I could fully experience the King's Party path of the British focus tree, it meant that I had plenty of time to annex the US through the puppet system, and after annexing them I could release them as an independent nation that I could invade and annex for the second time through the Unite the Anglosphere focus, which would allow me to then enforce the American monarchy through the decision and get the achievement. You catch all that? Good. Next up, I'll be getting the gang back together, and by gang I mean the Empire. To show the world how serious I'm about reuniting the Empire, I need to create a faction whose name reflects my ambitious goals of hastily reuniting the Empire. What could be a good name? Ah, yes! The Turbo Commonwealth, for we shall unite the Empire very hastily. I'm not a very creative person, okay? Good day, sir or ma'am. I can't quite figure out your gender right now, but as you might know, we are about to go and reunify the Empire, so the king has made the decision to ask all loyal Imperial patriots for a small donation to support the upcoming war effort. You can make your donation in the following ways: by subscribing to this channel, by liking the video, and by leaving a comment saying I stand with our Imperial troops and King Edward, and by sharing this video, whichever you choose, if at all. Thank you, and may God bless you, may God bless the king, and may God bless the Empire. Thank you once again. Hey, cunt! Don't close the fucking door! Well, fuck you too. You know, we're gonna win this war without your fucking donations. Fuck you. The first thing to do before a major war is to train one's troops. Hence, I shall hold a major military exercise in Ireland. As my mama used to say, practice makes perfect. Now as my troops' memory on how to oppress minorities has been refreshed, the first objective of the Re-Unification Campaign is going to be India, as after all, it was the jewel of the Empire, and very bluntly put it, I want my jewel back. So, I readied my well-exercised troops and started making plans. Breaking news! On the 1st of November 1939, India has declared war on India! Wait, what? The Indian Civil War was fought by the fascists and the unaligned, and spoilers, the unaligned won the war almost instantly. Now, the unaligned India is quite a mystery to me, as they spawned normally just like a nation/faction does in an unscripted civil war, yet they automatically joined a faction, aka mine, without my approval at the very moment they spawned, which is something that 1 second-old nations don't do, nor do the loyalist revolts I can spawn. And when the civil war ended, they did not become my puppet like loyalist revolts do. So in other words, this unaligned India is a bit of a mystery, as it doesn't exactly behave like a nation that has just spawned through a civil war, nor does it behave like a loyalist revolt that I can spawn. I think that this India is the result of some weird bug caused by the King's Party focus path, because what else could it be? Regardless of what happened here, I sort of got myself India for free, but at the same time, not really, as India is now a fully independent nation that just happens to be in my faction. I would have preferred annexing them or puppeting them, as I would have gotten a hell of a lot more out of India that way. But oh well, I guess it's fine. 15th of February 1940, I got a nice event for a change of pace that gave me the option to forgive embargo or get a free puppet casus belli on Mexico because they nationalized some British oil companies' assets. You already know which option I'm going to pick, don't you? Mexico, I'll be coming for my assets. Someday at least.
Shaminamia. It's time for Africa.
South Africa, that is. My invasion, I mean my reclamation of South Africa, is going to start a big war, as all my colonies and dominions who became independent are still part of the Allies. Right now, the Allies are being led by France, whose days are numbered as they are getting demolished by the Axis. This means that capitulating the Allies will mainly consist of me having to take out colonial nations in the East, which is kinda lame to be honest, but oh well. Anything for the Empire, even having to invade the ass crack of the world, New Zealand. So here's my war plan. At the beginning of the war, I'll take over everything the Allies have in Africa and the Middle East. After securing Africa and the Middle East, I'll be taking out Mexico, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Burma. I'll be doing this because Empire? After cleaning up the nations that I have free casus bellis for, I'll naval invade Australia and New Zealand, bringing an end to this war. And here we go. South Africa fell in 14 days. Yeah, this war ain't going to be that exciting. Around the same time I also captured French Middle East. After I had capitulated South Africa and occupied French Middle East, I started the long and arduous march through Allied Africa. I also captured Madagascar while this was happening. In September, I launched my invasion of Mexico. The war against Mexico proved to be a bit more difficult than I had anticipated, as they had a surprisingly large army, and the country is surprisingly mountainous, which is something I forgot to take into account before I launched my invasion. While I invaded Mexico, I triggered some SJW liberal cucks by triggering based and not at all sus loyalist revolts in New Zealand and Australia. The Australian one failed like the Gallipoli campaign, while the absolutely superior New Zealanders managed to recapture half of their nation. During my army's adventure in the Mexican oil fields, my troops also somehow ended up capturing Pakistan and Bangladesh. Mexico capitulated on 6th of May 1941, around 1 year after I launched my invasion. 2nd of July 1941, I launched the final stage of the Re-Unification Campaign. It began with the reclamation of stolen imperial property in Burma and with a campaign to recapture New Zealand. Burma was capitulated by August, while the pacification of New Zealand took till December, because the operation demanded surgical precision, as the patient had a dangerous obstruction in the Cook Strait. Luckily, I, a skilled doctor, managed to clear out the obstruction and the patient survived. Since then, he has made a full recovery and is able to once again spend time with his imperial family. A month later, in January 1942, my troops made landfall in Australia, The capitulation of the last independent allied nation was over in a few months, as when I brought my tank/motorized units to Australia, I used them to snake the hell out of the Australians, forcing them to capitulate on 15th of April 1942. The capitulation of Australia brought an end to the Re-Unification Campaign as the Allies surrendered afterwards. Now the peace treaty was pretty interesting. As you know, the French were the leader of the Allies, and even though the Axis were at war with them, I pretty much did the majority of the work taking down the Allies because of all the globetrotting I had to do, giving me the most war score. So, in Europe I took Normandy, Brittany and a chunk of the Netherlands. As the war against the Axis might happen during this playthrough, I would already like to be in Normandy when the war starts instead of having to invade it. In the Middle East I added the French territories to mine, while in Africa I annexed South Africa, French Madagascar, Belgian Congo, a good chunk of French colonies in continental Africa and a bunch of random islands. In Asia I annexed Pakistan, Bangladesh and Burma, while I puppeted the Dutch East Indies and took some random islands there as well. In the Americas I puppeted Mexico and annexed all the various allied colonies there, while of course unified Australia and New Zealand became my puppets as I triggered the loyalist uprisings in both nations. This also meant that both nations' pre-war borders went untouched. Now as the great imperial family that is our empire has been reunited and some new members have been added to it, it is time to fix the mistake I made with the US. I had annexed the USA in 19th of March 1941 during the Re-Unification Campaign, and now it's time to give them their independence once again. This might be the second time the United Kingdom has to give the Americans their independence, but trust me, this will be the last time. Alright, they're now independent, and now I'm just going to complete the Unite the Anglosphere focus and use the war goal it gives to declare war on the US. Okay, the focus is now complete. As my favorite Nintendo character says, "Let's go, partigiano!" Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, 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 you know how it goes. The Americans have 0 divisions, so this is literally just a joyride to my forces. Wait, what? No, 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 fuck! Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The Americans joined the Chinese United Front. And now I need to go and kill China as well. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right, so here's my war plan. I got no armies in Asia right now, so first I'll just deploy 2 armies there and push straight to Chongqing. I'm sure it'll go just fine. The Chinese aren't doing too well against the Japanese, so I'm sure the Chinese will fall apart when they are forced to fight a 2-front war. Oh, look at that! The USA just capitulated for the 2nd time in this game. Le Epic. And Mexico, my puppet, took the whole west coast, and now refuses to give it to me. Well, fine. I guess Mexico deserves some reparations for all the bad things the Americans have done to them. My units are finally starting to arrive in India. Took them a few months to get here, but luckily the Indians held the line really well. Wait, what? Mexico? Really? A second Cristiada? At this time of the year? Localized in one of your oil fields?
¿Sí?
I need that oil. Alright then, I guess I need to go and help my Mexican Dominion. Luckily I just deployed 24 new infantry divisions into the British Isles, which I can easily send to crush the civil disturbances in Mexico. In 8 months the situation has changed somewhat. I've crushed the Mexican revolt and made some pretty good gains against China. If everything goes well, I'll probably capture Chongqing in a month or 2, which will hopefully bring an end to this war. It's kinda cool that in some parts of the fronts, my Imperial soldiers and Japanese troops are taking out Chinese units in cooperation. I wonder what it would look like. Oh goody, Japan-san, we have almost defeated China. Japan-san, what are you doing? Can't this game just end? I just want one lousy achievement. Okay, so here's the final fucking war plan. Some could say the final solution. I call this Operation Number 1. So here's what's going to happen. I'll navally invade the Japanese home islands from one of my many bases in the Pacific, and I'll absolutely demolish them and make them capitulate. After Japan has been capitulated, I'll just deploy the fully motorized / armored army straight into Shanghai and destroy China with sheer speed and firepower. And that's it. Okay, there they go. The moment of truth? Wait, really? No one is here? Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Wow, we finally made contact with some Japanese troops after taking over half of their home islands. Well, they won't be doing much as there, voila, the Japanese Empire has just capitulated. Brought down by 6 Royal Marine Divisions. I might have dealt the killing blow, but I get very little war score, as China has been fighting Japan since 1937. So, I guess I'm just going to puppet Thailand and take Northern Malay. China will obviously take everything else, including Japan, so the first thing I need to do after this peace conference is to capitulate this Chinese puppet Japan. There. Done. Now, to finally taking out China. Boom! No resistance in Shanghai. Time to deploy the motorized army. Alright, the motorized army has just deployed and stands ready. Let's do this. Finally, at long last, peace. In the peace, I of course annexed the USA for the decision to enforce the American monarchy. In Asia, I annexed most of China, the whole of Japan, and all the islands everyone had in the Pacific. I also puppeted Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Korea, while mistakenly releasing an independent Qing China and Mengguo. As you guys might already guess, by this point I didn't care too much about the peace treaty. I just wanted my achievement. And, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the moment you have been all waiting for. It's time to enforce the monarchy into USA. My god, it's so beautiful. Now I just need to release Scotland as a puppet and I'll get the achievement. Be free and be brave, Scotland. And there it is, the achievement. My god, it feels so good to see it. To be honest, it was a bit painful to get this achievement the way I did. I should have just restarted when I made my mistake, but on the other hand, if I would have done that, I would have missed some pretty interesting wars and events. Okay, my friends, this is where the video ends. I was originally supposed to get the achievement Blitzkrieg as well, which requires the player to put Edward VIII in power, fully control Paris and to be allied with Germany. To get this achievement, my plan was to invade Germany, annex France and to puppet Germany. Because when you puppet someone, you get to be in the same faction. Or, you get to be allied. But yeah, when this game ended, or when I stopped playing this game, the Axis had defeated the Soviet Union and they had over 1,000 divisions in the field, so fuck that, just fuck that. I got my main achievement. I got the achievement that I primarily wanted, and now I'm just fucking out. I don't want to deal with Axis, who controls half the world and has like over 1,000 divisions in the field and tens of thousands of planes, so just, yeah, fuck that. This is where the video ends. See you in a month or two. It's gonna be another Hoi 4 video. Yes, goodbye, sayonara. Zaijian, as we say in Chinese.